Alright, so today I'm going to be changing the strings on my classical guitar. It's a Yamaha, and it's kind of a hybrid between a classical and an acoustic guitar. It's shaped and sized like an acoustic, but it does have the nylon strings, and it has the tuning pegs such of the classical guitar. So the first thing is removing the strings off of the guitar. So we need to take some of the tension off. So I'm going to start with my E string. And just keep loosening. You have to get it incredibly loose, just so that when you snip the strings, that the strings aren't going to go snap and fly everywhere. Now I'm loosening my B string. Now the G string. I'm going over to my D string. You can see I have two different style tuning pegs. A while back the guitar tumbled over once and it broke one of the tuning pegs, and so I just happened to have a spare set of tuners. It was the wrong style, but I wouldn't put it on anyways. Alright, I'm on my 6th string, loosening it up. So now I'm going to take a pair of wire snips. These aren't the normal snips that I would use. This happens to be what I have on today. I'm going to snip it close to the tuners. Alright, and I guess I'm going to start down here at the saddle, taking the strings off. Now, you can see that the ends of one string get tangled into the knots of the remaining strings. So the first thing, well, actually I'm going to try to loosen it up through here first. But I'm also going to try and pull out that extra from underneath there. And then you can grab it from the end and pull it on through. So now I got my E string that's off. I'm going to do similar on the B string. Going on to the G string. Here's the D string. When you have the strings off, you've got to be careful that you're not going to lose your bridge from under here. This one just sits in loose, not really supposed to be glued down. Alright, I'm going to go and throw these strings out. I'm going to grab my next set of strings. Alright, I suppose though before worrying about the new set of strings, I have to get the strings down off of the tuners. So here I am on the E string. And you can see, hopefully you can see that the other end of the string is also tangled up underneath all the wrappings. I like to do that because it prevents the string from being able to slip through the tuners as much. Because anytime you put nylon strings on, you know that you have a lot of stretching and slipping of the strings. So I'm going to try to feed that through the hole, and it's fed through one more time. Some people will put a knot on the string as they're putting it through the hole. I typically don't do that because I'm winding the string end on itself, but I will usually put the string through. Alright, let's see if I can stuff that one through. Grab it from the other end. Oh. Yeah, I got it. It's fed in there a second time. We'll pull it this way. Alright, so that's my B string. Here's the G. I'm on the bass D. Ironically enough, the thickest string as far as the diameter is the G string. You would think that the lower the note is, the lower the string, the thicker the string would be, but that's not the case. So one time. Alright, I guess I'm going to do the E string now, the big bass. Some more. Alright, so now all the strings are off. At this point, if the guitar's needing to be cleaned up and polished some, now's the perfect time to do it. It's easy to get all the nooks and crannies that you can't normally get when the strings. Alright, so what I'm going to use today, which is a really good product for wood, especially wood that's doesn't have the lacquer or shellac on it. You can see the body of the guitar has the fine finish on it. Does not really absorb these oils. And today I'm using the Martin classical strings. Alright. So when I'm putting strings on, I want to start with the smallest string, string 1, which would make good sense. The reason I start with string 1 is because at the end, the tail that I have sticking out, I want to be sure when I'm doing the B string, string 2, that I get it caught up in those windings. Alright, so I feed the string down through the saddle here. When I come back up around, I'm going to go on the right side of the string over here. I'm going to the right side, and I'm coming around the back of it. So I'm on the right side, coming behind, underneath it. I'm going to pull it tight. Now at this point, I'm going to take this tail end, and I'm going to be feeding it over top. I'm going to keep stuffing it through the string that's already right here. So I'm going to at least 2 or 3 times. So I'm taking it here, I'm taking it up underneath, pull it through. I'm going to do it a second time, taking it through. And that's probably going to be sufficient. Now this extra tail, because I started on this side and I'm feeding it through, the tail's pointing out this E tuner. Alright, stepping through the hole. Like I said earlier, I tend to feed it through the same hole twice. So here's once. Here's a second time. Alright, and yeah, I keep some excess slack on the string because you're going to do several wraps around here. Now because this is the E string and it's farthest to the right, I want the majority of the wraps on the tuner to be on the right side. But I do like to start on the opposite side. So I'm going to do my first wrapping on the left side of where the tuning hole was. So I'm going to start tightening. First time through, going to the right. As soon as I pass this tail, I'm going to shift over to the right side. Now here I'm going to take the E string connected both at the saddle and at the tuning peg. Oh, can't forget to have your saddle in there. When I was polishing, I took the saddle out. Be sure to put it back inside. Let's wipe this down a little bit more. Okay, so start by feeding it through the hole on this side of the saddle. And hopefully you can see here where I'm going to have the E string's string getting caught up when I pull the B string up through. Now the E, so make sure I have some excess here. I'm going to around the string, but I'm starting on the right side and I go up underneath. And now with the remaining tail here, I'm going to feed it underneath the string, again from the right side through to the left side. That's once, and this is twice, and again you can see that the tail is pointing. Feed it through the tuning peg hole once, feed it through there twice. I'll get it on this side. String on here. And on this one, the middle of the three tuning pegs, I'm usually indifferent which side the wraps are on. The G string, for sure I want the wraps to be mainly on the left side, so that way the strings aren't getting tangled up in each other. But I think I'm going to have the strings on the second tuning peg also going to the left. So I'm going to make my first wrap to the right, but all the remaining wraps will be to the left. So I'm coming through here over the right, going up over. There we go. Once it passes the other string end, I'm going to shift it to the left. Hopefully you can see right here that the string's going over top of the remaining string. And it's going to be very helpful when holding the string in place so it doesn't want to slip back through the tuning peg's hole. There'll be plenty of twisting and wrapping on that tuning peg, but right now that's good enough to hold it in place. Alright, going to continue the same process. So now I'm moving to string 3, which is the G string. One end, feed it through the saddle. Tail ends of the other two strings, that I can get them both caught. Again, it holds it in place, keeps them from slipping. Put some extras through, coming again from the right side, going around the back. Give it a little tug. There you see the string getting all twisted up. Try to stuff them back in the sound hole. Alright, so at the tail end here, I'm going to try for 2 wraps, one through the string across the saddle. That's 1. Comes number 2. There we go. And the extra string is pointing out towards the left. The length of the string's coming up to the G string tuner. And before I do that, I'm going to get rid of that extra string of the B string. Alright. Now again, this is the thickest string perhaps of all of the 6 strings. So sometimes it's a little difficult getting the string to go through the second time, but I got it through the tuner once, and now I'm going through the second time. I've got extra slack on the string. My first wrap I'm going to have on the right side of the string, but the remaining wraps are going to go on the left side. Again, it keeps the middle string towards the center of the guitar neck. So here comes my first wrap. Going to the right of the pre-existing string. 3 strings on, which is known as the treble strings. The 3 treble strings are just plain nylon, but when we get to the bass strings, you're going to see that they are coiled. There's a metal coiling around the, maybe you can hear or see, flat pretty easily. Again, come through the saddle. Try to get all the strings remaining to get through there. I'm going to start on the right side, go back behind. With the extra string, do at least 2 wraps. Makes a lot of sounds, fret noise, string noise. Alright, so here I'm going up into the D tuning peg. Fed it through once. Feed it through a second time. And again, I want most of the wraps on this one to be towards the center of the headstock. I'm going to have my first wrap on the left, and I'm going to have the remaining wraps towards the center on the right. I'm going to start tightening. Bass strings to go onto the A string. Feed it through the saddle. Catch whatever extra strings are hanging out over here. Start over to the tuning pegs. And again, I'm indifferent really on which side most of the wraps go on. I can see that the tuning peg's hole is closer to the outside. So I'll probably have my first wrap to the outside, but the remaining wraps onto the inside. So I feed it through the hole once. Feed it up through. So now we've got 5 of the. Feed it through the hole. Any extra string ends sticking out, get those caught up in there. Come around from the bass tuning peg. Now, since this string is all the way on the outside of the neck, I'm going to have the majority of my wraps on the outside of the headstock. Feed it through the tuner once. Crossed over the strings end. I'm going to switch to the other. So now we've got all 6 strings on. Now it's just a matter of tuning. And again, when you got brand new nylon strings, it's hard for the guitar to hold pitch for quite some time. The nylon keeps stretching, but not to keep slipping a little bit as they get tighter and tighter. The extra slack keeps slipping through. So I'm going to get my tuner, and we'll see how far off of being in tune with. I'm just going to start with my E string. And it's rating E, but I'm sure that's an E that's an octave too low. So I got a lot of twisting to do. It's rating G, G sharp, A. It's rating C. Get this string end up through here. Maybe. There we go. And again, I want it to stay on that side, so this next wrap that comes around it will also catch it.